counting down the top 10 games in Hillsborough Hops history. Number 5 occurred last September the 9th, Northwest League Championship Series, best of 5, game 3, series tied at the game apiece. And one of the central figures in that game, Tristin English, third-round draft choice of the Arizona Diamondbacks last year out of Georgia Tech. Tristin, how are you?
I'm doing good. Just trying to stay safe, try to stay busy during this tough and new time for a lot of us.
Yeah, in Georgia right now. Are you able to hit it all and work out or what?
I'm able to do a couple different things. I have a concrete well house. I get all my throwing, ground ball work in off of that. I recently set up a net to try to hit a little bit, but not able to go to a cage or anything. They're all closed around me. But I'm hitting a lot of golf balls right now. So.
Oh, you are?
Trying to keep the
balance. Are you a pretty good golfer?
I wouldn't say pretty good. I have a lot of fun out there, though.
Okay, and that doesn't negatively affect your baseball swing at all?
No, believe it or not, golf doesn't hurt my baseball swing at all, but baseball really hurts my golf swing.
I don't know. Sleeping hurts my golf swing. Eating, breathing. Some people might ask, well, why is game 3 of that series higher on the list than game 5, the championship game, which is number 7? It's because of the sheer drama that unfolded, how well the game was played. Neither team had a runner into scoring position until the 8th inning. The Hops stranded the runner at third in the top of the 8th. Tri-City stranded the runner at third in the second in the bottom of the 8th inning. The ball wasn't carrying well. The wind was blowing in. The air was heavy. Still a scoreless game in the top of the 9th inning. And Corbin Carroll scratched out a 2-out infield hit that brought you up. And I think the count was 0-1, and you jacked one out of there. Incredible. I didn't think anybody could get anything out of that ballpark that night, and you did, giving the Hops a 2-0 lead. Tell me about that at-bat.
The game overall it had a weird feel, a weird feel to it. You knew that it was going to be one big hit by one team that was kind of going to separate it. Obviously, no base runners, or only a couple base runners in the whole game, 0-0 in the 9th. We had, obviously, Tyler Holton throwing, who was just lights out the entire year. So we were struggling to get him any runs, which seemed to be pretty usual when he pitched. He only gave up 0 or 1, but it seemed like we could never score. And that at bat, the whole series, they've been kind of sliders away, fastballs in, just keeping me off balance. I think I had one hit in the first 2 games, including that game going into the at-bat, something like that. And the first pitch he throws me was fastball in on a pitch I was sitting slider away, because that's kind of what they've been doing the whole game. And I thought, well, he had pretty good success there. And me recently was a pitcher in college. I was like, well, if I see someone take a bad swing like that, I might try to go back in there again. And he did. He threw the exact same pitch he threw for strike 1. This one I was just sitting on. I cheated to it, was able to get the head out and get it up in the air, and that's all she wrote.
I remember asking you during the season if the fact that you had been a pitcher in college and so recently was an advantage to you, and you said, yes, sometimes it is. That's a prime example right there. You were thinking along with him, all right, he couldn't get the inside fastball, I'm going back to it, and you were sitting on it.
Yeah, it definitely helps sometimes to be able to think like a pitcher and not know, because you never know what's going to happen or what's going through a pitcher's mind, but kind of a feel for how the at-bat's going, what their go-to pitch is, where their miss pitches, that kind of thing. It definitely helps a little bit.
Were you surprised that it left the yard on a night like that, or once it left your bat, did you know it was gone?
Once I hit it, I knew it was gone, but obviously the air was thick, the field was still wet. It just had a damp, thick feeling to it. But once I hit it off the bat, I knew it was gone. I gave a little miniature flip and a little hop, and then I think I sprinted about full speed around the bases. I was so excited to get back in the dugout.
While you were rounding third base, were you aware at all of the contingent of Hops fans sitting behind the third base dugout?
Oh, yeah. You can definitely hear them. And we travel really well for being, 2.5, 3 hours away, something like that.
3 to 4, yeah.
3, 4, yeah. And the amount of fans we had there just filled in all right there behind first base, maybe 100 for a game that's 4 hours away is incredible. There's nothing like the Hops fans.
No, yeah, very good. You mentioned Tyler Holton and that he had thrown, I think, 7 shutout innings in that game with 9 strikeouts, and it was indicative of what had happened in his starts, many of his starts toward the end of the season when he was really locked in. If you're having difficulty scoring runs for a pitcher like that, is there added pressure heading into the game? Like, man, we haven't been able to get this guy any runs. We've got to do it tonight. Does it that kind of feed off itself in that way?
Yeah, it does for sure, especially when it starts out kind of the first couple of games they throw and it's like a joke. It's like, oh, we never score any runs when Tyler pitches. And then the next game, again, we won't score any runs. I think when did he throw? Game 1 against Salem, he gave up 1 hit and we were losing 1-0 in the 9th inning. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, we really can't score when he scores runs. And that added pressure just kind of builds off of itself, which nothing, no knock to him because he's a fantastic pitcher. But I think we as hitters kind of relax knowing that he's not going to give up any runs. And it almost keeps us too relaxed to where we can't get in that fight mode and try to score runs.
So you finally get the 2 runs on your home run. Then the bottom of the 9th inning, as locked in as Tyler Holton was, a guy who was able to throw 6 or 7 innings in the start, Nick Snyder, drafted last year, right out of college, not able to pitch that many innings. He was just as locked in. The guy didn't give up a run, earned or otherwise, the entire season. But then, and after pitching around, I think a leadoff walk in the 8th inning, he got out of that. I don't think the runner was stranded at second base. Then in the 9th inning, walk on, I think, a 3-2 slider, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Mylon Arroyo comes out of the bullpen and gives up 1 run, I think, on a ground ball to you. Now, I don't remember that particular ground ball. Was it a pretty easy play?
I think did we roll a double play on that play? Is that
no, just a 3 unassisted. And then Luke Becker came up and the bases are still loaded. Now it's 2-1 and there are 2 out after the bases loaded with nobody out. And on the 10th pitch of the at-bat, he struck him out on a slider. How relieved were you at that point?
Very. And it's funny you mentioned that. During the pitching change, when Nick came off and Arroyo came in, Ricky Martinez, we were all standing behind there, and he looks at me, Peggy, and Yerzy, and he goes, "Is this fun? Are we having fun right now?" Everybody was just like, everybody's heart was pounding. We had just taken the lead, and it was like, oh, no way we can lose the game right here after what just unfolded. And it was really funny for him to just ask, "Are we having fun?" Like, it doesn't feel like much fun. And I think it was good because everybody just kind of took a deep breath. We chuckled behind there, and then we were able to get it done in a big momentum swinging game.
That is a great story. And on top of everything that guy did defensively and coming up with hits at the right time, I think I was talking with Ryan Nelson about him, and what an incredible year he had defensively. He started 20 games at second, at least 20 at short, at least 20 at third. He committed 2 errors all season long. I did 10 years of AAA baseball. I've never seen a more consistent fielder than Ricky Martinez.
No, he is really solid defensively. Just a great clubhouse guy too. Just a great overall guy. A guy you definitely want on your team. Really upbeat, brings the energy, and he's a guy that you want the ball hit to in any situation, regardless of where he is. I mean, make 2 errors an entire year. I think I had 2 different games where I had 2 errors in one game. So, so it definitely puts it into perspective for me how good he actually is.
Yeah, and you're learning a new position as well, learning to play third base. How difficult is that?
At first, it was pretty difficult, because I came in having only played first base and pitched in college, and then they put me out in right field. And I think I put more pressure on myself than anything else. And it was about the time I started feeling comfortable out there in the outfield, they said, "We want to try you at third base." And that was, you would think being a corner position, first and third, would be pretty similar, but it felt like a new world over there at third base, just trying to learn footwork, completely different footwork. You have to make a throw. And But by the end of the year, probably after 7 or 8, 9 games, something like that, I was feeling a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, and you looked it, and I want to apologize. It wasn't you playing first base; you were playing third base in that game. Of course, Andy Yerzy was playing first base, but you made a couple of plays, including one on a bunt in that eighth inning when Tri-City stranded the runner at second base. Uh, was how difficult was it to learn when a third baseman when you've got a charge on a bunt like that, and to make those plays?
It's one of those things that can't really be taught. It's all a feel situation of how hard it is off the bat, whether you have to come get it, whether the pitcher gets it. And so that's kind of the learning process. Is the only way to learn when to charge and when not to charge, or when to go to second, when to go to first, is just by doing it. So it's just the more reps you get under your belt, the easier those decisions become.
So the Hops then went on to lose game four, and that set up the deciding fifth game a couple of days after your big home run. And you had a key single that drove home a run in the 3-1 Hops win. How nice was it for you to get a ring in your first professional season?
It felt really nice. I'm not sure how nice it's going to be, because now that's the standard. Is I think we just come in and then we just win championships. It's that easy. But yeah, it was an awesome experience. I hadn't won anything since high school travel ball, so it was a really neat experience to be able to dogpile and you know celebrate with the team, and you grow together over, I don't know how many games I was there, 52, 56, something like that. So it's a really nice feeling.
It was an incredible year. You had also pitched at Georgia Tech, as you mentioned, and I know you tried to wear down the Hops pitching coach Barry Enright to let you come into a game last year on the mound. Is this something you'd like to do, or would you like to go the way of Shohei Ohtani or Brendan McKay?
I really just like to give Barry a hard time and let him know that I can still do it. But I enjoy hitting and playing the position every day, and that the extra stress that you put on your body between trying to play every day and pitch is definitely something different. I mean, my body felt way better after switching just to hitting, whether or instead of balancing both kind of in college. So if the opportunity presented itself and that's what I was asked to do, I'd be more than okay. I keep letting our trainer know that my throwing program consists of me throwing flat grounds every time I throw. So he just got to they let me know I'll be ready to go. But more than anything, it was just good back and forth banter with our pitching coach. Just give him a hard time.
What'd you do during the off season?
I worked out at a place called Rapid Sports Performance in Atlanta. So I was working out 4 days a week, hitting every day, almost every other day, something along those lines, and trying to work more on anything on like improving my flexibility, which is not very good, and it's still not very good. But that was kind of my main focus, and then defense with my footwork on throws, footwork on ground balls, and came a long way since last year when they first moved me to third base. But we still have a long ways to go. There's always something to work on, and I'm kind of a defense heavy approach. My travel ball coach in high school, actually, at practice, all we would do was defense work, and he used to say, "You can either hit or you can't, but I can teach anyone to field a ground ball." So.
Wow. Well, that's a good approach, and you were impressive, as you mentioned. Yeah, a week or so in, you were pretty impressive with what you're doing down there at third base. Um, a lot of people who have, and of course, at short season A ball, about half the team is coming right off their college campus to play professional baseball for the first time. So they don't go through spring training. And a lot of players have told me over the years, they said, I didn't realize how big of a challenge this was going to be to get to the big leagues until I got to my first spring training and I saw how many other guys were part of the Diamondbacks organization or whatever organization I happened to be working for at the time. Was the same true for you? Was it kind of an eye opener? Wow, I mean, there's a lot of guys here.
Yeah, it was. And the thing about that is we didn't even make it to when everybody showed up to spring training. The day everybody arrived, we had an off day, and they sent us all home the next day. So we were still missing half of the position players. All the pitchers had shown up the week before, but we were still missing guys, and it was the one day we walked out after all the pitchers reported, and it was like, oh my gosh, who are all these people? Because they're people you've never interacted with before if they weren't on the team that you started with right after college. And it's definitely different too, because guys that you became close with who have been in the org for a couple years are really close with them. So it helps to be able to have that kind of gateway into those cliques, those friendships, because you've already made a couple, but then you definitely feel a little different not knowing these guys. And really, I didn't know who they were, where they were at last year. You didn't really know if they were in rookie ball, if they had just got drafted the year before, or if they were in AAA battling for a big league spot. It was definitely different, and a lot of things that people don't realize when they're coming out of college.
Yeah, I think the people in the Hall of Fame, people who have been career big leaguers, those lists would be completely different if you say played 3 games a week or 4 games a week like you do in college, instead of playing 6 or usually 7 games a week. Last year, you began playing baseball in January, and then you played all the way through Georgia Tech, through the regional, you signed as a professional, you come to the Hops. You were undeterred. After all that time playing baseball, in August, you were the player of the month in the Northwest League. So the grind didn't wear you down. Why not?
I don't really know. I really enjoy playing baseball, and people have always said, once you're playing every day, it's completely different. It's a grind. But to me, I enjoyed playing every day. It kind of helped with when you were going really well, you got 6 games, 7 games in that week instead of 3 games of feeling good. So it gives you the opportunity for momentum to build. And on contrast to that, when it's going bad, you can look back and you can be 0 for 20 in 4 days, and it's almost like a hole that you can't really come out of. So overall, it's more about just enjoying playing the game and not so much results oriented. We talk about kind of having like a low care factor, where you're not really caring about the results as much as you're just enjoying playing the game. And the more stress you put on yourself, the worse it's going to be. So it's just one of those situations.
That not caring about the results, that's a pretty good thing to carry over to your golf game too, right?
I care a lot more about that result for some reason. Those hurt
yeah, I know it's probably reflected in your play too, and not in a good way.
No.
You talked about being locked in last year, and then you were, as you said prior to the interview, you told me you were just as locked in, if not more so, early on in spring training this year. With that having been said, how difficult is this right now with the pandemic and not being able to do what you love?
It's really tough, because this is the first time pretty much any of us in any organization have ever had a spring off. From the time we were probably 2 or 3 years old, that's baseball season every year. We've never had an interrupted baseball season. So it's pretty difficult kind of from an emotional standpoint, because like, man, I really want to be playing, and especially guys that were doing really well during spring training that were trying to have a breakout year, that everyone's just like, oh, well, now that's pushed back a year. How will that affect everything? And then for some guys, maybe it's good. Maybe they wanted the year off. Maybe they were trying to come back from an injury, and now they don't miss any time relative to their peers. So for everybody, it's a little bit different. But for me, I was really looking forward to getting to play, and still holding on to hope that we get to play something this year. It's still not too late. Short season doesn't start till the middle of June anyway. So
yeah. As on the date we're recording this interview, nothing's been decided about that yet. So I hope indeed you guys do get to play. How are you keeping yourself busy during this quarantine time?
We've already mentioned golf. Play a lot of golf. Do a lot of fishing. Kind of hang out with my family, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend's family. I'm down here visiting right now. And then they have a lot of animals: cows, horses, goats, chickens. So stay busy, kind of living a farm life. Not nothing too crazy. Not allowed to get on any horses. per my contract. So
Nothing wrong with that. You got to abide by those things, right?
yeah.
All right, Tristin. Well, I really enjoyed getting to know you last year, and congratulations again on the championship with the Hillsboro Hops. And I know Andy Yersey's home run in Game 1 will go down in Hops lore. That happens to be number 4 on our list.
Number 4.
But you, I don't want your home run to be overshadowed. That was in the situation and with the conditions in the ballpark and the atmosphere. That was a shocker to Tri-Cities fans, and it was a big moment in Hops history. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I thought Yersey's home run would be number 1. So.
Well, we've won 3 championships now, so there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, for sure.